Perfect. So yeah, so we have a couple of people joining in the meanwhile as well. We have already a few people who have joined in. Sure, like we on the other platforms like LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook, we have more people joined in and watching the live stream. So good afternoon and good evening, everyone, whichever part of thing from. And welcome to our webinar for today. Going to talk about harnessing the power of AI in learning management system. And I am thrilled to be your host and moderator for the today's event. So talking about the event or talking about the topic of significant transformation in education and training landscape. And AI is just not just a buzzword. It's a powerful tool that is reshaping how we approach learning development today. We will of AI and enhancing learning management system, optimizing content delivery, lining administrative tasks. So before to the discussion, I would take a moment to kind of acknowledge our in-house. Adroit is a forefront of integrating AI into education platform and effective kind of solution to meet the evolving needs of learners and educators alike. Excellence is helping to set new standards in the industry, and that's what we try to do at Exaltius and with the help of Adroit. Now, it consists of industry experts and we have leaders who are going to share their insights and experience on leveraging AI with LMS platform. Let me introduce our panel for the day. I'm going to start off with Mr. Michael Clem, our first panelist, who is a managing director at Singapore Education Network. He is an education professional with international education, employability, and education technology. And Michael is also a venture partner in higher education partners. He mentors edtech startups, creators, and EduSpace and 500 Global for the year 2023-24 by EdTech Digest. Michael, we are truly
great to be here.
Yeah, perfect. Moving forward, we have Dr. Babita Jha, who is an associate professor at Christ deemed a university based in Delhi NCR, with over 15 years of experience in teaching and finance and accounting. She has previously worked in institutions such as Jaipur Institute of Management, TAPMI School of Business, and Institute of Professional Studies. Dr. Babita Jha, the University of Rajasthan, Jaipur, and has been recognized a proponent of continuous learning. She has published numerous research in prestigious journal, including ABCD, Opus, and Web of Science. Dr. Jha has presented her work at various international and national conferences and is an active member of the Institute of Global Professionals. She has conducted corporate training sessions and MDPs both nationally and internationally, including special sessions for Bhutanese executives.
Thank you.
Perfect. Moving forward, we have Mr. Pratap Malladi. So he is a seasoned digital and data strategic, hailing from the dynamic realm of robust background in marketing analytics, business development, and expertise to the table. His proficiency extends across both technical and functional domain, showcasing a versatile skill set that set him apart in the rapid evolving landscape and digital marketing. As a strategic thinker, Pratap leverages his in-depth knowledge to delve impactful solutions, making him an invaluable asset and in navigating the complexities of modern business landscape. Welcome for today's session, Mr. Pratap.
Thanks, Nitin.
Yeah.
Hi, all. Looking forward.
Certainly, yeah, certainly. And last but not the least, we have Julian. Introducing him again for today's event. Is a prominent figure in the industry, hailing from University of Gabriel serves as a research supervisor in education leadership and wealth of expertise in research and education leadership. We are delighted panel today, Mr. Gabriel.
Thank you very much.
Since moving forward from our introduction questions, considering we have tight schedule for the day. So I start off with Mr. Pratap with a question on how can AI be leveraged timely and accurate assessment and feedback to the students?
Yes, Nitin. So
Yeah.
thanks for your. So
Yeah.
aside to what Nitin has mentioned, just Nitin mentioned, I'm a seasoned data-driven marketing strategist and a business development professional with almost 16 plus years of experience and driving business growth across. Worked with many industries such as MarTech, means marketing technology and advertising technology, tech and high-tech consulting firms. So my expertise lies in leveraging technology and to craft innovative marketing solutions. So that deliver a strong return on investment in the digital area. So ultimately, so my business growth and digital data driven insights work transforming complex data into actionable strategies. Field of so what I believe is that knowledge sharing is caring. Consistently, I always think from a student perspective, keep on continuously learning. That is the really help, and in this digital world, it will help to drive digital success together. So that's a quick intro about me. Now coming to your question, Nitin, as you were asking, like hey, how the way AI can be leveraged. So as you know, right, this is the era of digital transfer, say myriad of opportunities to enhance the assessment and feedback process for students, automated grading and feedback. So AI instant feedback to the students, so that in a way they can material or models to generate accurate assessment. For example, and there are many. I'm assuming that Android also as a learning management platforms include those features like it uses machine learning algorithms to automatically grade handwritten and digital assessments, providing detailed feedback to the students in a real time. This here, so in other case, we can see that there are some what I call adaptive learning platforms, means like personalizing the learning experience on the individual student performances and their preferences, so that in a way these platforms continually assess students' strengths and weaknesses, adjusting the content and difficulty level accordingly. So, for example, if you can say, where I observed recently, this is in there's a tech company called as Khan's Academy. They use a algorithm to analyze student responses to the questions and tailor subsequent content to address areas where they need more practice. And other case NLP, natural language processing for feedback analysis. So this provide insights into students comprehension, writing proficiency, areas of improvement where they can help in identifying common mis. So if we can see in the industry, there is a tool called as Turnitin. It's a plagiarism detection tool which uses NLP as the students writing and provide feedback on grammar, their style. In a way, it's enabling instructors to offer some personal guidance to them. Now, the main thing is data analytics. So so this the data analytics tools, they can help in tracking students basically learning behaviors, engagement level, and their performance trends over time. So with this considering these insights, they can enable instructors to identify at risk students early and intervene with some targeted support wherever they require. Now, considering another use case in this line, so you say virtual chatbots are there already. So I mean, virtual tutoring and chatbots. So like these chatbots, they provide students with some on-demand support and feedback outside of their traditional classroom hours. So this system can answer questions, explain concepts, and offer guidance in a real-time context. What I say. So there are some, I think, Android as a learning management system also have this kind of features. But on the similar line, there is another platform called as which I know is a NetTutor, which uses IBM Watson, which uses IBM Watson Assistant as NLP to interact with students and answer their questions and provide personal feedbacks and assistance. So. On the whole, the context, what I mean is yes, by harnessing the power of AI in these ways, any edutech companies or institutions, whatever, they can provide students with more timely and accurate assessments and feedback, ultimately enhancing their learning experiences and outcome. That's my call, Nitin.
I think very valuable insights over there, talking from your experience. I'm sure, like, yeah, there's a lot to kind of like our panelists, like, or even the attendees, like had a lot of gain from that particular knowledge what you shared. And thank you for that quick kind of intro, or like I would say like your uh thoughts on that. Now, quickly moving forward to Mr. Gabriel, right? Like, so I just want to address something which is similar to what I have, what probably Mr. Pratap has also answered. So, in terms of AI, like transforming the learning management system or the landscape of, so how do you see that has transitioned in the last recent years? How AI has kind of transformed the learning management system ecosystem in the recent years?
Thank you. First of all, when we think of AI,
Yep.
without doubt, it has transformed the learning first and foremost because it provides what customized learning path for students. AI, is student friendly, and because it is not only student friendly, student centered, they can learn on their own pace. It gives the students the opportunity then to really be passionate about what they are doing.
Yep.
They
Yes.
meet the needs of students, and moreover, in my mind, my experience, they assist in maximizing cognition among students. And I think that is very, very significant because you have students in a classroom or in, yeah, at different levels. And if AI can assist in maximizing their ability, I think it is very, very important. In addition, over the years, and now I'm doing some research in this area, it is beneficial to students with special needs. So when we talk about students with special needs, students who have disabilities, students who were once excluded are now in the whole area of education. So I think it is rather interesting, it is rather important, it is necessary, and to say it forms really an integral part of learning. It
Yes.
enables students to profit from the multimedia aspect of learning, um, which is different. It's no longer, the educator talking and so on. Students
Yes.
then, because of the AI, can do research ahead of time, and moreover, they could even what challenge themselves, challenge the system, and indeed ensure that learning takes place.
Yeah. I think, yeah, a very valid point over there. Like, yeah, so it kind of like that transformation has happened over a few years, how AI has like kind of helped learning management systems to change out, even education industry to kind of change and erupt in a better way. Especially like how you mentioned with your research, you have been seeing that it how it helps especially challenge students who would require special assistance. So AI can kind of be a big lifesaver for educators or even for trainers. And we totally agree with that too. Thank you for those valuable insights, Mr. Gabriel. Now, just quickly want to address a question to Mr. Michael. So, in terms of personalized learning, right? Like, so, with your knowledge and experience in the industry, can you explain like how AI can be used to create personalized learning experience for the students?
Thanks for asking this important
Yeah.
question. And personalized learning is, I would say, one of those buzzwords flying around, and it's hardly possible without AI. But I also like to thank Pratap and Gabriel, who brought up some very valuable inputs, particularly Gabriel, what he just mentioned related to special needs or students with special learning requirements. And that particularly builds a bridge to personalized learning, which is a special subject of sorts. But personalized learning as such, let's go back in time a little bit. School or universities generally content or knowledge comes in blocks, right? You study a subject, you study
Yes.
study a major, you learn pretty much the same thing. and more importantly, you learn at the same pace, regardless if you are a fast learner or a slow learner, or you're a special needs learner, and completely regardless of any knowledge or skills that you acquired before you actually entered that course or that institution.
Exactly.
So that's the past. Now, future, and I don't talk about present, I rather talk about future, because I think we are in that interesting transformation or transition phase here, where institutions to some degree, but more often education companies or organizations, they offer more and more educational products, so
Yes.
to speak, where you can personalize the content, you can personalize the pace, you can personalize in person or virtual.
Yes.
So you got a big basket now you can choose from. And that's, of course, that's impossible with AI, because AI that builds a bridge to assessment and feedback could be used, or is used as a course, as a free course assessment tool, where
Yes.
it can be verify your own knowledge and skills, and accordingly, AI can determine what course, what skill, and what level of competency you already have, and
Yes.
accordingly, you don't need to start from scratch. You can maybe jump ahead.
Exactly.
That is currently more, I would say, used in more skills related courses, less in higher education, which would be great, because if you study computer science and you have done while in school of various courses, you may already jump into the second year or third year,
Yes.
because you already covered the a couple of modules, which is very difficult from a university's perspective to implement, and it's not really done. But to make education more efficient and more productive, user friendly, and the end goal, where personalized learning will save time and will save funds, or will save
Yes.
money for the student, as well as for government, or for the institution. So I would hope that can be done in the future. I would say personalized learning to some degree is available here.
Yes.
Um, but on a big scale in the higher education or school space, it still has time to go. But I just wanted to share a little bit where it
Yeah.
actually comes from, personalized learning.
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, yeah, and that is something which we also kind of try to focus on, personalized learning for students, because with the help of AI, we try to kind of implement that in the system Android what we use. Exactly, we try to kind of create content which AI suggests us with a set of topics what we are trying to teach the students. Also, we try to kind of create an
Mm.
assessment feedback based on the students' capacity and capabilities with the help of AI. So
Or maybe just one
improvise.
more. I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
I
please,
just add,
please.
and I think it's an important part of personal learning is of what type of assessment. So if you
Yes,
have a solid AI system, and we all know students sometimes we have fear of assessment and tests. Some are good in writing, some are
true.
good in speaking, etc., etc. If you have a solid, trustful, credible AI system for personalized learning, you should at the end also have a choice, at least for some modules or courses, you have a choice of what assessment you can do, which
Correct.
makes it fairer,
Yeah,
that somebody who's good or bad at a certain assessment is not advantaged or disadvantaged. So that's also part of personalized learning, as far as I'm concerned.
makes sense. Yeah, yeah, I do. I totally agree with that too. Yeah, I think assessment is also like, yeah, kind of improvising with the help of personalized learning and with the help of AI, and that's something which all educators and like the institute should look into as well. Whenever they are trying to kind of curate a program and like to deliver that to their students. Thank you, Michael, for that valuable again insights. And now I would quickly address my next question to Dr. Babita. In terms of again, like in the field of data analytics, right? Like so, just want to understand what role does AI play in analyzing student data to improve learning outcomes? Uh,
Again, as said by my earlier experts, AI plays a very crucial role in analyzing data, especially in terms of personalized learning path. So AI algorithms, they can analyze a student's past performance, their learning styles, their preferences, and they can create customized learning modules. So this is a great way where we can just identify students' weak area, and we can make them like struggling, we can identify their weak areas, and their struggling can be lessened through this thing. Why? Because customized learning style can be introduced.
Right.
Then again, AI powered adaptive learning platforms can adjust again the difficulty level and content based on students' progress. So if you see a particular difficulty level, so AI powered adaptive learning platform will be adjusted in such a manner so that it ensures that students, they are continuously challenged at an appropriate level and received support wherever they need, and maximum learning potential can be used. So again, adaptive learning platform, it helps a lot to the students. Again, if AI can analyze pattern of student data, or previous data of a student can be analyzed, then AI can identify where students, they are facing some difficulties, or where there is a disengagement. Now
Mm.
here comes a role of a teacher or a faculty or an administrators, because once they have seen the pattern of the student wherein they are having some challenges, wherein they are having some difficulties, they can provide additional support to their students. They can help their students who are struggling, and they can make them understand the things. So again,
Agree.
AI along with personal support, it can play a very important role. And AI again can use a predictive analytics to forecast future academic performance based on past data. So again, predictive analytics, now some of you might be thinking, what is the role of that particular predictive analytics thinking? So we can identify students at risk of underperforming, and then we can also take out some strategies to meet those students, to meet the challenges of those students. So again, it helps a lot. Then a very important role, as mentioned again by the earlier experts, that is feedback and assessment. Feedback
Yes.
and assessment, it plays a very important role in terms of AI. So AI powered tools, it helps in generating, or it helps in giving students prompt feedback. And suppose if they have involved themselves in some quizzes or some games and all these things, so they can get feedback very easily. So again, these feedback helps in the assessment of the student. And when a particular student knows that the feedback, it is very at a very fast pace, and we can improve ourselves from that particular feedback, so the learning outcome can be achieved. So again, these are my views through which a particular student can be, through which an AI can analyze the student performance. So
No, great analysis. Talking about that predictive analysis over there as well, which is a very important and paramount topic again, I would think. So thank you for sharing that knowledge, Miss Babita. So I just want to continue on that thought, right? Like on predictive analysis and analytics to Mr. Pratap. So what are some of the examples of how predictive analysis powered by AI can help educators identify student at risk of falling behind?
Yes, Nitin. So,
Yeah.
see, predictive analytics, which is powered by artificial intelligence, definitely they can empower educators proactively identifying, as we are discussing, right? Identifying the students who are at risk of falling behind and intervene with them with some targeted support strategies. So aside to that, see, one case where we can consider is like early warning systems. For example, like predictive analytics, like we can analyze various data points such as attendance records, grades, engagement with course materials, and quite demographic information to identify their patterns indicative of student at risk of falling behind. Okay, so this can
Yes.
overall like to assess student academic performance and behavior, flagging those who may need additional support. It assigns a risk score to each student. We can assign a risk score to each student, enabling instructors to intervene early with some personalized interventions.
Correct.
So then, in terms of learning patterns, yeah, we can analyze students' learning behaviors and engagement patterns within the digital learning environments to identify any deviations or trends that may indicate a decline in performance or any motivation level. So we can identify patterns such as declining engagement or increase the time spent on assessments, so that in a way it can alert instructors to students who may be struggling with though. Then we can also consider someone like social network analysis, for example. So considering that learning management systems have this integrations now, right? So within social network analysis, we can examine students' social interactions within the learning management systems or any forms to identify students who may be isolated or lacking peer support, basically. So social network analysis within this online learning environments, uh, what it means is it identifies students who are peripheral or isolated within the network, prompting instructors to reach out and offer support to those students. And next,
Yeah.
the as a part of under NLP, sentimental analysis. So what I mean is AI driven sentimental analysis can analyze students written responses, forum posts, or any chat interactions to detect signs of any frustrations or confusion or any disengagement. So sentiment analysis can in a way like it can assess students written reflections or discussion forum posts. It can identify their emotional cues and any language patterns indicative of students who may be struggling, enabling instructors to provide any timely support they require
Yes.
actually. So in this way, I think we can use the predictive analytics mode. That's the call, Nitin.
Perfect. I think, yeah, that's a very valuable point over there. Again, like what you mentioned in terms of predictive analysis, how that has been implemented within the system, right? Like, so thank you again, Mr. Pratap, for that. Like, I'll kind of move to Mr. Gabriel again with our next question, which would be in terms of how like AI play a role, what or let's say what role AI plays in analyzing student data to kind of improve the learning outcome for the students.
You. First of all,
Yeah.
AI analyzes students' data, and it is what? Clinical.
Yes.
And because it can do that even better than how the human mind can, I think it really goes beyond. And because it analyzes data, it what? Enhances the teaching and learning. Consequently, the ability of students is energized, optimized learning. Want to argue again, and I'm going back to this whole idea of inclusion, I'm passionate about that, that
Yeah.
because it analyzes the data of students in such a fashion and it's done quickly, it's done in a very what? Clinical way, it lays the groundwork and fosters and harnesses inclusion. It accentuates multiple intelligence. Not all students in a classroom would be on the same level. Some at various levels, various needs. And because of this analysis of data, AI now facilitates. And of course, we know about the video games, the quiz, the different materials that are used. Moreover, feedback is done in a timely fashion. Students always love feedback. I have students in my class, they submit work today. So when can you, right? So feedback is done timely and so that they could improve in the areas that need some more attention. Moreover, I think because of this whole idea of assessed data, it brings dynamism in the classroom where students learn to appreciate each other. It is no longer a selfish motive where I am learning, I am intelligent, and I don't care about the others, but it incorporates everybody. It makes learning eventful, meaningful, interesting. it accentuates learning, it is not punitive, and most of all, I like it because the feedback is done in a timely manner, and it is student centered. It's no longer what the teacher is saying, what the instructor is saying, what the educator is saying, but really together, educator and students, we move so that students can benefit from their learning.
Perfect. Yeah. I think that's very good, like coming from your experience as an educator, right? Like, so where you personally kind of ask students for the feedback, and like, yeah, so how AI is kind of changing that particular landscape itself. So thank you for sharing that, Mr. Gabriel. uh Now again, coming back to Mr. Michael, I just want to, because this would be an interesting question for people who are from the institute, or like from the e-learning institute background. So in terms of scalability itself as a business perspective, right? Like, so how does AI enables the scalability of education programs, especially in like, yeah, large institutions or like kind of online programs which they run?
Thanks. Indeed, it's an interesting question, and it can also be a bit controversial, right? So, just because you can reach a larger audience, and especially education institutions who care very much about brand and care very much about undermining its values, at least some, scalability isn't exactly a positive thing. I just want to mention that, right? For some
Yeah.
other institutions which have a very different mission, is as more students, the better, as more knowledge, as more skill levels, more degrees, as more certifications, the better. So it's a very different perspective how to look at scalability. But myself being in as an educator or an education professionals for over 20 years and across Asia, there are so many gaps in terms of what the public and then also the private education system can achieve and reach. Scalability is still a huge issue, particularly in countries like India, or in South Asia in general, in Indonesia, in Philippines, in those vast countries. So
Yes.
AI, I mean, digital education as such, and AI is just a little subset of it. Digital education over the last 10 years has greatly increased scalability. But I think only post-COVID, it received sufficient recognition that online or digital education can be compared to some degree
Yes.
as an in-person. And then we have all kinds of mixed offerings, hybrid or synchronous, asynchronous, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So AI on top of it helps, particularly both institutions or education companies like these MOOCs or online learning portals reach more and a more specific audience. That always requires a lot of data entries or a lot of data inputs from institutions, from other data sources, where certain gaps are relevant. Governments are very interested in this part because depending on which region, which industries, which type of investment requires certain knowledge and more skills, AI can really help is properly if properly utilized in funding and driving educational priorities. Right. So if you have in one part of Indonesia, you have a couple of data centers, you need people who manage that, right? And AI in a bigger scheme can help in driving educational programs in this part of this part of a country. And in large countries, that's not a small problem. It's a huge problem. But
Yes.
in Bangalore and Hyderabad, you're probably full of IT people, but in other parts of India, I'm kind of
Yes.
making up a story, but I'm probably relevant.
Yes.
You have
Yes.
other investments, and is critically important, right? So I think in this context, AI kind of diffuses or can diffuse the picture and then
Yes.
drive educational policies and investment from the government as well as from the private sector. And I think that's the real
Yes.
benefit of in terms of scalability in AI.
Yeah, I think, yeah, coming from your experience working with this lot of education institutions and e-learning institutes, I think that's a very valid point what you mentioned. I'm sure like you have been working with companies based in APAC, India, and like other regions as well. So the experience itself kind of speaking of what you have come across and like, yeah, how the market is performing, like, yeah, what are the challenges which are there, which of course like everybody is trying to kind of handle in their own ways, but then yeah, of course it's still a long way to go, I would say. Thank you, Mr. Michael, for that. Like, yeah, so again, like kind of moving forward with to Dr. Babita, since you are an educator yourself, right, like, so just want to understand in terms of student engagement. So let's, since we are talking about AI, like, so how AI can enhance student engagement and motivation within the LMS system. You're on mute, Dr. Babita, sorry.
A very nice question. Actually, nowadays it's very difficult to engage students, and especially engagement through online and through LMS, it has become a great challenge. But still, like with the use of AI, like personal recommend, if we go with personal recommendation, or if we say AI algorithms, they can analyze student learning behaviors, preferences, and after analyzing these things, they can recommend courses, they can recommend activities or resources. So AI algorithms, they play a very important role in this particular thing. Otherwise, if a regular type of course is given to all the students, then it will become a monotonous type of a thing, and not much concentration will be there. So personalized recommendation is a very important feature through which AI can generate engagement among students. Then we can say again adaptive learning paths. Adaptive learning paths, as said by the earlier expert also, a particular level of difficulty can be judged, a particular level of difficulty can be adjusted, and or the course content, it can be channelized in such a way that it ensures students' engagement in a particular course. So we can just see a level of a difficulty. We can just through AI, and we can just try to adjust as per the requirement or preferences of the student. Again, interactive learning experiences plays a great role, and here comes a role of AI. In case of chatbots, or in case of virtual tutors, in case of simulation-based learning environments, students, they feel more engaged. And because again, if we talk about simulation-based learning environment, it helps in knowing the real or the practical situation, and so students, they may be motivated to learn more. So again, that is the basic feature of an AI, or AI should give this much so that students are engaged. Again, in my previous sessions also, I have been telling like gamification plays a very great role. Nowadays students, they basically prefer through games and all these things to learn a lot. So again, like examples can be badges, leaderboards, and all these things, rewards into LMS, so that students can learn. Again, natural language processing also helps in building a constructions between communication between the instructors and the students. So this is how like students, they can be engaged with the help of learning management system. And even like previously, I told about predictive and analytics and feedback assessment. So again, analytics, predictive analytics, and feedback assessment, it really helps a lot in the engagement of students. Until or unless you don't give feedback to your students of what they have done or how they are progressing, every activity will be futile. So it is very important for any AI generated tool that these things should be given. So this is all from
Perfect.
my side.
Yeah, thank you for that insight coming from again your experience as an educator itself, right? Like, so I think it's kind of brings some more value to our listeners and the attendees. Thank you, Dr. Babita. Just
Thank you.
a quick question to Mr. Gabriel from one of our attendees, right? Like, so they're asking that it was mentioned that through data analytics on the students, uh, especially who those identified who are failing behind that, right? Like, so the AI introduced learning materials that could enhance and help those students. Does this mean that AI gets the learning materials being introduced within the content in the LMS, or from somewhere in the web outside the LMS, or just within what's deposited within the LMS?
Yes. I think it is dependent on the educator with this enormous amount of knowledge available to accurately discern, decide in conjunction with students what is best and how the ability of students could be enhanced. Saying that when we talk about AI, then it really does not eliminate educators, but it enhances their role. Because although we talk about feedback, it's important, it's necessary, it forms an integral part of education. I think that proper guidance, that professional guidance, that given by the educator who is then the expert in that field is of paramount significance.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you for that quick insight, Mr. Gabriel. There's another question I would want to address this to Mr. Pratap, right? Like, since you are somebody who has an experience in data and like your data privacy. So, how can AI be utilized within the LMS to kind of personalize learning experience, improve engagement, and enhance education outcome while ensuring data privacy and ethics and its ethical use?
Yeah. So data privacy and ethical issue is one of the biggest issue running behind, actually one of the top trending issue, if I'm not wrong. Where there is a one of the trending technology, cyber security. When I see there is a market of US dollar trillion market, it means that data privacy, GDPR rules, all that come into the picture. That's no. So what then I call this as AI at maturity level, basically. Okay, it's not like that we consider AI and integrate, but there are some set of moral ethics where we need to follow when addressing this kind of issue. There are certain policies where we need to consider when designing LMS systems, right? So hopefully, in my era, I have seen multiple LMS systems across. Each and LMS, when they start doing that, beforehand only they will consider all these things too, without breaching those policies, because LMS is a kind of 360-degree approach for any student. They can get anything inside that, basically. So with this is the approach, the uh, enterprises who are into this making into LMS, edutech LMSs, they are almost focused on this data privacy, so all this issue. They will consider it before only. After hand, there is nothing to consider other than threats and vulnerabilities that will come into picture. So uh, here, what I mean to say is a sense of maturity need to add over here. That's in a very simple way I want to say.
Yeah, understood. Understood. Yeah. Thank you for that answer, Mr. Pratap. Yeah, it's very interesting again. Uh, Again, like, yeah, so let's move forward with our next question, considering time in hand. Like, so I will address next question to Mr. Michael again. Like, yeah, so I just want to understand in terms of teacher support again, right? Like, so in terms of um, uh, learning side of it, like, so in what way can AI support teachers and educators in managing their workload and enhancing their teaching strategies effectively?
Well, that's a very, very important question. And this is essentially, if we get this right, this is how AA really scales up and becomes a technology, not a product, but a technology within products which can set foot forever pretty much in education. We covered actually quite a bit already,
Yeah.
but it's been bits and pieces. Assessment is one big piece, assessment and feedback. I'm not going into it, but just mentioning one of our most time-consuming tasks and repetitive tasks where AI can definitely help teachers save time, which can be spent otherwise for better use, is of course an assessment and feedback.
Yes.
But the other part, and there are many, many different utilizations. But the other part, I think, which is a very important part, and I want to spend a little bit of time with, is in content creation or curriculum development.
Yes.
Because that's something which education has never really done well for various reasons. I mean, education by definition is always after behind the industry or behind innovation, because the industry or the government or history essentially makes content outdated, and then when it needs to be translated through a rigorous process into an approved content, and that takes time. Anything between 6 months to probably 5 years, depending where you are. And that part should and can be done faster through the usage and utilization of AI that can make content and curriculum more up to date, more unbiased. I mean, content curriculum is can be political of sorts in certain
Yes.
subjects, but still, I think teachers, we always think teachers have 2 months or 1 month or 6 weeks break time in in winter and summer, but actually that time is being used to update curriculum. Apart from
Yes.
many other things, and just looking at the smile of my co-presenters, they know what I'm talking about. And through the proper utilization of AI, and there are already quite good tools available where you can make curriculum not only more up to date but also more engaging. You can integrate, just throwing in some terms, gamification tools. You can throw in some homework or a different self-testing tools, etc., etc. Right? The books don't go away; they will stay here for a while, but it can be more engaging, and to put that all together with good and better and more quality, up to date, and engaging content, this is
Yes.
where AI comes into the picture, and that should make it easier and probably also more enjoyable for teachers, I hope.
Yes, perfect. I sure like, yeah, the educators here joining us today also kind of agree to that point. Um, Again, like, yeah, so just want to address one more last question to Dr. Babita, right? Like, so in terms of ethical consideration, I'm sure like Mr. Pratap spoke a little bit about that. But what ethical consideration should be taken into account when implementing AI in an LMS system?
See, again, as said by Mr. Michael, and he was very correct, like biasness should be removed and fairness should be there. And students they really get disheartened when biasness it is there in terms of AI generated data and all these things. So fair treatment should be there. Then again, like AI algorithms they require access to huge data, and this create an issue of the data privacy and security. So again, this should be kept in mind that transparent policy should be made regarding the data collection, regarding data sharing, and even the student should have control over some of their own data. Otherwise, it will become very difficult and all the data will flow to different AI generated techniques and it will really create a trouble. So now
Correct.
talking about like some of the AI algorithms, they are really very complex and where they are really very difficult to operate. So again, it should be transparent and it should be explainable. Like if we are creating some AI algorithms, they should be transparent. Like what actually assessment they are giving, why these assessments they have been chosen, what are the recommendations they are giving. Again, these should be transparent and a very important aspect is of equity and access. Like most of the AI driven techniques, they are not access to all the type of students, to all the type of category of people, and all these things. So again, access and equity should be there. And a very important thing is that informed consent should be taken. Informed consent in the sense, if we are asking for some data and all these things, so students' consent should be taken if this data gets published or if this data is being shown and all these things. So do you consent or do you agree with this thing or not? Because if they don't consent about these and these things, then it should not be shown to the students. So again, informed consent and autonomy, it plays a very important role when we talk in terms of ethical consideration. So these are my points with reference to.
Yeah, I think yeah, very valid point. At the very end also, like yeah, the consent should be taken, and that's one way ethical way of doing that, right? So, again, like yeah, thank you for sharing that, Dr. Babita. So, And again, thank you everyone in the panel. So as we come towards the end of our webinar today, considering time also. So again, want to thank everyone who joined in from a different part of the world as well. So I want to extend grateful thanks to the panelists once again for their timely and insightful contribution. It's been an enlightening discussion on the transformative power of AI in learning management system. Again, I would like to kind of thank people from Exaltius and the team at Droid to come kind of bringing up a solution which kind of is catering to the challenges of the today's learning ecosystem. Looking forward for if you are anybody attending the session looking forward to kind of explore a cutting edge solution